Causeway Street Podcast. I'm your host, Joseph Pavone. Joel Pavone. Mr. Sean Dutra.
Hey, this is Leon Poe, man. You listening to Causeway Street Podcast.
What's up, y'all? This is Kenny Anderson.
Hi, this is Tyler Zeller from the Boston Celtics.
Y'all listen to the Causeway Street Podcast.
For all you new listeners out there, I'm your host, Joseph Pavone. I'm joined as usual by my two co-hosts.
I'm Sean Dutra. What's up? So
Yeah,
like
talk
long
about
walks
yourself.
on the beach.
There you go. Joel Pavone. What up?
I'm a Pisces.
The most
It
romantic.
leads off with that.
The most romantic sign in all of Zodiac.
Oh,
You couldn't tell by my voice already.
oh,
Sexy. I'm the producer of this ensemble that we call Causeway Street. In case you missed it,
Hey, Bill Walton here, Celtics 1986. You're listening to the Causeway Street Podcast. Yeah, come here for nothing but the truth. This is where dreams come true. Thank you, Boston, for my life.
where are we going?
you guys are such homers.
It's your boy Tay Rozier. You're listening to the Causeway Street Podcast. Now listen to my boys Joe, Sway, Joel, and Sean.
All right. Welcome to a new episode of the Causeway Street Podcast. I'm your host for this special episode. I am Joel Pavone. And to the left of me, I got Sean Dutra. And we got a special guest in the building tonight at the 101 Causeway Street Studios, Tim Tunis. What up, brother?
How you doing? How you doing right there?
What's
I'm
happening,
ready to
man?
talk a little NBA playoffs tonight.
Tunis just started watching basketball yesterday, man. It's great.
And
So
I'll cross all y'all
he
up.
just
Oh,
came
yeah.
on right on time just to come on and shoot the shit with us here on the Causeway Street Podcast. We got to talk about Game 3, yo. Despite how awful it was for,
Well, I think we got to talk about
Celtics fans.
games 1, 2, and 3. We can't just focus on the negative here.
Well, that's true, but this is the most recent game.
It is the most recent game, but
We
I
haven't,
mean,
we haven't spoken to you out there in the internet world since the end of the Bulls series,
Ever since we started shitting on that dude from Chicago.
who turned us down, by the way, who didn't want to come on, Mr. Vincent.
Probably because he's a little bitch.
He's a little bitch.
Anyways.
But we digress.
Yeah, we're not going to spend the whole episode talking about that dude this time, man.
I don't
What's
know
up?
this. I got you.
If you haven't noticed yet, our main host, Joseph Pavone, he's gotten so big now that he can't host our podcast anymore. No, I'm just kidding. No, he's down in Washington, actually.
It's big time in us, bro.
Location, and we'll be talking to him in a little bit. But before we do, Game 3, Celtics lose 116-89, and apparently now the Wizards are right back in the series.
No, I don't. I'm not.
So
gonna
they
go there
say,
yet.
right? So they say.
I mean, I predicted a 7-game series here. I predicted a 7-game series, but I also didn't think the Celtics would look as dominant as they did in the first 2 games.
Yeah, but at the same time, they look just as bad in Game 3. Right. That's why I can't stand people after 2 games giving a series to a team.
Well,
You know?
I mean, if you are dominant, and the way the Celtics were playing, where they went down early. And then they came back and they showed resilience, and then they were dominant. Like after those,
can you really say they were dominant? They went to overtime in Game 2.
Well,
and they were down by 20 points in Game 1.
Well, Tim has
right.
a point. Tim has a point. You know why? Because in 12 quarters, including in overtime, the Wizards have looked more dominant than the Celtics. Celtics are probably dominant maybe like 3 quarters of the 12.
I don't believe that. I think the Wizards have dominated the first quarter of every game, and then ever since then, I think I heard a stat today that the Wizards are averaging right around 40 points in the first quarter of every game this series. So that is a gigantic red flag, which actually leads me to this. And I know that we'll probably get into this a little bit later, but I mean, Game 3 was Game 3, right? It was a dud. But the one consistent thing in this series is that the Celtics have been dominated out of the gate every single game. Now, in the Bulls series, Brad Stevens was able to insert Gerald Green and get a little spark in his starting lineup. But I think the biggest question to figure out this first quarter conundrum the Celtics are in right now, what is that piece you're going to insert into the starting lineup? that's going to give the Celtics a spark right off the bat.
The bottom line is the Bulls aren't as good as a team as the Wizards.
Oh, no shit. They were the 8th seed, bro.
So you can insert a Gerald Green against the Bulls and have him have a big impact.
Right.
What they need is Al Horford to step the hell up.
Well, Al Horford's been playing pretty well, I think. I mean, Al Horford's been doing his thing, but it's the Amir Johnson spot.
Amir Johnson's not even seeing any minutes now.
Well, I know because he sucks, and they should have done something at the trade deadline, which is getting way back.
All right, hold on.
All I want to say is the starting lineup, though. The starting lineup, that's been a problem.
All right, let's recap a little bit, okay? Celtics in the first quarter of Game 3.
We're all ready to go out the bats right now.
Listen, never recovered from that 22-1 run that the Wizards smacked the Celtics with in the first quarter.
I like how you gave them the 22 to run instead of the 20-0 run they actually went on.
I don't think
Isaiah broke it.
I don't think it was 22-1. I think it was 22-0.
Oh no, Isaiah had a free throw right at the end.
All right.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So there's that. Okay.
Celtics shot side over here.
Celtics shot 35% from the field.
Okay.
They took 32 threes and only made 10 of them, right? The shots just weren't falling for the Celtics. 16 turnovers, which is uncharacteristic for the Celtics. 8 of them came from Marcus Smart.
In the first half, I think.
Just like overall.
But the way I see it, the Celtics, it's not like those were easy shots. Like the Wizards are figuring out how to guard Isaiah.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
I think Isaiah just never got going.
Look at the way they defended him in games 1 and 2, or not even the way they defended him. The way that they used him when he was on defense.
Okay.
They let him chill on defense. They let him go to the corner guy, not do anything in the corner, pretty much rest on defense. Last game, everybody who touched the ball was pretty much who Isaiah was guarding, and they went after him. Mm-hmm. So they made him work on defense. They weren't making him work on defense on games 1 and 2, which takes away from his offense.
All right, let's look at the flip side for the Wizards, right? Everything went well for them. They shot 47%. They never trailed in this one. They out-rebounded the Celtics 60-50, which is not too much, but what killed the Celtics, the points in the paint. 56-28.
I mean, one thing I noticed watching Game 3, which was different from Games 1 and 2, but I expected this to happen the entire series, was Gortat was dominating in the paint.
Mm-hmm. So was everyone else.
Well, Gortat is a better player than Robin Lopez, and Robin Lopez was dominating in the paint.
No, that's why I said going into the series, I said I really hope that Gortat doesn't just dominate.
It makes sense.
Well, let's not forget the fact that.
Hey, by the way, both ex-Suns players.
oh, that's right. I forgot. Tim Tunis here, our resident Suns fan. Also, you can see his
sad sack of shit.
You can catch his articles on the sportsblog.com. Let's not forget the fact that the Wizards came out physical more than they have in the first 2 games.
So I think I'll say this: the Wizards played well in Game 3. Right? All the stats will probably support the fact that the Wizards played well in Game 3. They dominated the Celtics. Mm-hmm. The Celtics have only been down by 30 points twice this entire season. The Wizards game that just was played and the Warriors game that happened in November. The only time this team was down by 30 points all year, a.k.a. thank you, Sean Grandy, for saying that great stat on the air the other night. But at the same time, I'm not worried about the Celtics losing control of this series. Because this is why. So first off,
shouldn't the Celtics fan be fearful of the fact that they can't beat Washington at the Verizon Center?
Oh, should they? Because can Washington beat Boston in Boston? Right?
I mean,
but Washington has a worse record in Boston than Boston does in Washington.
Because
we haven't played as many games
but
yet.
You can't look at that. You can't look at it like that. If you look at the 3 games, who had a better chance of winning on the road? Wizards had a better chance of winning both games.
The Celtics are the number 1 seed.
Yeah, but you can't. That's not the point.
Yeah, they should have a better chance of winning on the road.
Yeah, but that's not the point. What I'm talking about is 3 games that have been played up until now. Who has had a better chance of winning on the road?
No, I think
the Wizards in game 1 and 2, or the Celtics in game 3. Celtics didn't have a chance until it was 12-12, and then all of a sudden it was 32-12.
This is what it all comes down to.
They really didn't have a chance. And I'm not trying to say I think the Celtics have a very good chance of winning game 4. But
this is what it all comes down to.
If you look at who has had the better chance of winning on the road, the Wizards have had a better chance of winning on the road.
The Celtics, and especially Brad Stevens.
And they have to win on the road, not the Celtics.
The Celtics and especially Brad Stevens needs to figure out the first quarter because it's very easy to overcome a deficit, a double-digit deficit in your own building. If you're and the one thing I think we had that group message.
Yep.
Our buddy Zach said, Wizards going to be by 15. And I said, if the Wizards can come out strong, they'll probably win this game. Because the Celtics have shown...
But they've always come out strong, though.
Well, I know. This series, they've come out front. But the Celtics have shown resilience in being able to come back from an early first-quarter deficit at home. On the road, that makes it triple as hard to do. But here's my thing, is that going back to that starting lineup thing, Brad Stevens needs to find the right combination against this team to not be coming out flat out the gate, because he's been able to, and even if we go back to last year when he inserted Jonas Repko into the lineup, this year he inserts Jared Green into the lineup. He's been able to push that magic button to say, hey, I fixed everything, guys, we're good.
Well, he needs to do it again.
He needs to find that piece again because it's different for this Wizards team. Gerald Green is not going to be able to start on this squad.
But when you say he's found the magic whatever over the last 2 years, they've lost in the first round the last 2 years.
Which I get, but I mean,
so what is the magic thing? Like, what are you saying? Like,
okay, so they didn't lose this year when they inserted Gerald Green into the lineup in the Bulls.
Yes, but you're talking
last year they went 2-0 at home again when they inserted Jonas Repko in the series. They won both games at home.
But then they lost the series though,
right? Which I get, but I'm saying. Stevens needs to find the right combination of players.
He needs to counterattack this.
Because Amir Johnson, as much as I love watching him run into cameramen all the time, Amir Johnson sucks.
And to agree with you,
he sucks.
You're 100% right. It's all about the way they've come out. Because, like you said, when they came out in games 1 and 2, they came out terrible, but they're able to come back over the feeding from the crowd and stuff, but they can't do that on the road.
This is my hot take today. This is my hot take of the day.
All right. We'll listen to your hot take, and then we'll bring in our fourth.
Kelly fucking Olynyk needs to get inserted in the starting lineup. This dude saved us in game 1. He was the only guy in the first quarter of game 1 that was scoring buckets. He gets right into the head of the Kelly Oubre, the second best Kelly O on the court.
I don't know about that one. But
no, Kelly Olynyk it needs to get inserted into starting lineup.
All right, we'll ask Josue, who is on location down in D.C. What up, Josue? What's good, bro?
Yo, Sway, how's Trump doing down there, bro?
What's going on, fellas? What's going on?
Oh, Josue.
Thanks for having me on.
Oh, thanks for having you on our own podcast, dude.
Yeah,
You're not a fucking guest, bro.
This is yours.
I mean, you could have done this without me. What do you mean?
All right,
you didn't have to call me up. I appreciate it.
All right, Sway. Let's get your
still
perspective.
a possibility of that.
Let's get your perspective on this. You were there. You saw Game 3 live. You saw, Ducci just brought up Kelly Olynyk. Let's talk about Kelly Olynyk. What did you see, and do you think that I don't know what you want to call it.
I mean, I saw the same thing you guys saw, man. I don't know what you want me to say. Whatever Kelly Oubre, whatever happened, I mean, you look at the other plays leading up to that, obviously it wasn't just that play that ticked them off. I mean, it was a little bit of pushing and shoving, and that's something that it seemed like the entire Wizards team continued to complain about after the game. Even from the head coach down to John Wall, who sort of tried to downplay it. But at the end of the day, I mean, they're frustrated. They're thinking to themselves that they feel like the Celtics are getting away with being very physical with them. And in some sense, they might be right, but I don't think the Celtics are doing anything illegal or anything, that the referees aren't saying. You think about after Game 2 when the coach was talking about, when Scott Brooks was talking about how I got the chance to ask him actually about Bradley Beal, and I asked him, why is he playing, why is he so off from the field, and how come his shot's not falling? And he pointed to the same excuse, trying to blame the Celtics for grabbing him and pulling at him, and that he said that he needed to make the right adjustments in order to free him up. But at the same time, the Celtics need to stop getting away with things that they're not supposed to get away with. So I feel like a lot of that had to do with Oubre just sort of losing it. I mean, Olynyk has been setting tough screens, but I don't think it was a screen that was,
that screen wasn't tough. That wasn't a tough screen, dude. It was run of the mill.
It was a hard screen, but a legal screen, and I don't even think it was a foul. It wasn't even a foul.
That's what I mean. There was nothing malicious about it.
No, and he got a flagrant.
But there was nothing malicious about it. It was nothing against the rules about it. So I didn't think he just snapped. I mean, he's a young kid. He's gonna have that chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
And he just sort of overreacted. I was surprised though. I was really surprised. I didn't see that one coming.
Do you think the mental game went in the Wizards' favor, especially after that play?
I mean, I think it rallied up the rest of their guys, but I didn't see any difference in terms of their intensity. I mean, they kept it going throughout the entire 48 minutes of the game. I mean, from the jump, it seemed like the Wizards just sort of grabbed the momentum and never let go. The Celtics just looked flustered. I mean, they couldn't find their offense. They couldn't look like they were trying to run their plays, but they were just rattled. Isaiah Thomas was double teamed, triple teamed at some points, and I feel like there was no one besides Al Horford and Avery Bradley who. Those are the only two players I saw from the Celtics that had a bit of offensive momentum in spurts. But, of course, it just wasn't enough to overcome the huge deficit that they were facing, it seemed like, throughout the entire night.
It seemed like when that Kelly Oubre play happened, the Wizards were just fucking dominating up to that point anyways. It wasn't like this tight game that all of a sudden the Wizards turned it on.
But I feel like Celtics could have used that to fuel
the
some sort of comeback.
Celtics could have used it.
So that's what I'm saying. That's where my question. That's where
but
my
they
question
were
comes
down
from.
by like 25 points at that point too.
We've seen the Celtics come back, not necessarily win games.
Yeah.
But I felt like if there's any moment in that game for the Celtics to make something happen, it was after that play.
Well, talking about that Oubre play too is one thing I noticed, which was I was nervous about when it happened. Was
the ref?
It happened, and then everybody sprinted over.
Mm-hmm.
If the Celtics, if we're at home, and that happened right in front of their bench, we would have had a couple of guys suspended for the series. Luckily, it was right in front of the Wizards bench.
Yeah,
I was concerned that somebody on the Celtics was going to come off and get suspended. Now, luckily, I think I think the Celtics were just ready for it, which was, to me, surprising because you got people like Marcus Smart and Isaiah Thomas and Jay Crowder on the team who don't take shit, and all of a sudden Kelly Olynyk gets decked. I was waiting for a retaliation there, but I mean, I got to say that looking at that play, the Celtics are ready for this. The Celtics seem like the more mature team in this series, which I think for the Celtics is a brand new idea for the Celtics to be the more mature team in the series.
Well, there was 8 techs overall between these two teams, split down the middle, four techs each. 3 ejections, other than Kelly Oubre. Then you got Brandon Jennings trying to get under Terry Rozier's skin for whatever reason.
All year.
Which is so stupid.
That's been happening all year. You remember
Brad
that?
Stevens tech, the Brad Stevens tech was ridiculous.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous.
Well, the Brad Stevens tech was ridiculous, but I mean that Terry Rozier Brandon Jennings thing is so strange to me. Every time they play against each other, you remember in the regular season this shit happened too.
Can I just?
They got teed
up.
I
want history. They really don't like each other.
But I mean,
Brandon Jennings and Terry Rozier, they have a history. I mean, we saw it happen during the regular season when Brandon Jennings kept stopping short in front of Rozier,
right?
And it took him out of the game. I mean, Scott Brooks took him out of the game really quickly, and they kept drawing back and forth. I mean, for some reason, those two just don't like each other. I don't know what triggered it. Yes. I don't know what the first war of words were between the two, but they really don't like each other.
Somebody's got to get to the bottom of that shit.
Sway, first I want to say something, then I want to ask you something. The thing with Kelly Oubre, that's just an immature player. Like, that was the totally legal screen, and like you said, yeah, he got a hard screen before, but that hard screen before was also a legal screen. He's just not used to that, and he's, 20 years old? He's a 20-year-old.
He's a bitch.
He's a 20-year-old guy who he doesn't know how to react when something is hit with him that hard. And what really I thought made him react that way is the fact that a foul was called. If a foul wasn't called, which I don't think a foul should have been called there, I don't think he would have reacted like that. But
I think he should be getting mad at his teammates for not calling out the screen. I mean, he keeps
that.
calling
Yeah,
into
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I mean,
yeah, exactly. That was
Right.
more. That's more on his teammate than him. But his reaction, I put that towards him, his immaturity. My question
Right.
to you is, and I asked these guys earlier, are you worried that the Wizards have somewhat found a way to guard Isaiah?
Yes, I really am. I think the way Isaiah looked, they're throwing different guys at him. They've obviously done their homework. I mean, after what happened in Game 2, and on the other end, they're starting to use another guy who I haven't seen as much in the first 2 games, but we certainly saw him in Game 3, and that's Otto Porter. I mean, they're finding a way to get him involved into the offense. And look out, because Bradley Beal still hasn't had that game that we've seen from Bradley Beal throughout the first series against the Hawks.
Because
I'm still waiting for Bradley Beal to put up 25, 28, and of course John Wall's going to put up his 30. And you've got Otto Porter putting up 17, and the way Marcin Gortat has been effective on both ends of the floor. I mean, that's a very tough team to beat. But, of course, it all starts with Isaiah Thomas, and I feel like Isaiah will eventually find his offense. He's going to bounce back. I don't expect him to score only 13 points in Game 4 again.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think they're making him work a lot harder to get to the hoop and to get those shots. And I think that's an adjustment that's going to play a big part, a big difference in the series.
The reason I asked that is because obviously he's a different type of superstar, right? Like I would say Isaiah's a superstar, right? He's a top 5.
You're damn right.
So, but at the same time, you hear all these so-called experts.
Who? Bring him
Stephen A.
in
Smith.
front. Bring him on the Causeway Street
Stephen A.
podcast.
Smith, all these ESPN people talking about how he's 5'8", 5'9", and you can neutralize him, even as ridiculous as a scorer as he is, and one of the best offensive players in the league as he is. They say you can find a way to guard him, unlike you can find a way to guard Harden or one of the bigger, stars in the league.
Right, but at the same time, the Celtics need to make adjustments too. I mean, Brad Stevens has to find a way to get him open looks. So
exactly,
I mean, Isaiah Thomas, we know he can score in people's faces. That's what he tends to do. But we need to, as if I'm part of the coaching staff, Brad Stevens needs to find a way to free him up. I mean, it's very rare that you see an open shot from him or you see him taking shots that are uncontested.
Okay.
So I think that's an adjustment they need to make. Try to find a way to free him up and find more comfortable shots that he's going to knock down.
Exactly. That literally was my next question. Is like, do they need to find some way to get him there? And I mean,
well, he answered it for you, dude.
Exactly.
What do you know? He's reading your fucking mind, dude.
I know. He answered it exactly.
I also think, guys, a lot of that has to do with Al Horford. We've seen Al Horford put up some good games in the series. Al Horford is certainly a guy who finds his offense throughout the night. But I think the Celtics need to. One of the things they need to do going into Game 4 is to go to Al Horford early and often. I think that's gonna completely help.
Because that's a second option, right? Because right now there's really only one option, and that's all the Wizards have to guard is Isaiah.
Right.
But
my
man Sway, I'm on the same page. We on the same page.
You guys can make out later, dude. Jesus.
I didn't know he said that. It's funny. No, I mean it really does.
No, he actually didn't say it.
I did say that Horford needs to step up. He needs to be that second option. Did I not say that?
All right, man. Yeah,
but it's on Brad too to run the offense through him as well. Yeah. Even though he only took 8 shots, I think he had his offense going.
How
but
many
they just
threes
go
he
to
hit? Like 5?
He hit 4 out of 5 threes.
Yeah, legit. That's
legit.
it.
It's rare you see them go to Horford early and often. If you run your offense through him early, you're going to free up Isaiah, and eventually you're going to see open looks for guys like Avery Bradley and Jay Crowder. I mean, it's been something we've seen in the past. I just didn't see that in Game 3.
The thing is, when Horford gets a 3, that's created by another player, mainly Isaiah, maybe Avery, whatever. But that's created. But he needs to get his own shots.
But
he's the type whose entire career has become a good player from making his own shots not making threes.
No, but I see what you're saying.
System.
I know what you're saying. But he only took 8 shots. So did Isaiah.
That's terrible.
I understand that, but they didn't play like from halfway through the third all the way to the end of the game.
Right.
They only played 29, 28 minutes each. So at some point, Brad Stevens was like, he waved the white flag, and it was like, all right, it's on the Game 4. So let's look ahead to Game 4.
I got one question.
Go ahead.
Because we've all been dodging it, and I brought it up already.
All right.
So, Sway, the biggest problem for the Celtics, in my opinion, has been the first quarter. I think we can all agree.
Yeah. No,
they've sucked every first quarter in this series, okay? So, Sway, in my humble, expert, motherfucking opinion, I'm inserting Kelly Olynyk into the starting lineup. What is your quick fix
for Game 4?
No Gerald Green. Gerald Green ain't going to work. Amir Johnson ain't going to work. Marcus Smart has been playing like dog shit this entire series. What does Brad Stevens do to solve those first quarter woes?
I mean, I know, like you said, I agree with you. Marcus Smart hasn't been great in the series, but I think that's one way for them to help the starting five. I would like to see Marcus Smart in there. I think he could be very valuable in making sure that Otto Porter doesn't have the same kind of night that he did. I think that it may even help him jumpstart his offense a bit if he's not one of the focal points. You know, in the starting five with Avery Bradley and Al Horford and Isaiah Thomas, I think he can find his offense, easier if he's able to start. But, I mean, Joe Green I'm with you. Joe Green hasn't been effective. He hasn't been having those first quarters that he had in the first series. And I really like Kelly Olynyk off the bench. I think Kelly Olynyk, he can give the Wizards a lot of problems when he's playing their secondary guys. Right? If he's playing their starting unit, I don't think he's going to be as effective. And Amir Johnson he's Amir Johnson. I mean, he's just not giving them much of anything on either side of the floor. So that's my opinion. You know, it's the lineup that they end the games with. Why not start the game that way with some intensity, some toughness? And I think that putting Marcus Smart into the starting lineup, I think is going to be helpful for them and not falling into a 12-point hole in the opening 6 minutes like they have been throughout the series.
Nah, man, I think you need offense. Offense.
Can I
You need to
ask
put
you
the
guys
best
something?
offensive lineup on the floor to start the game, because it's not that the Celtics have been, sucking defensively in the first quarter. I mean, maybe they have because
Can I ask something real quick? Can I ask something real
Yo,
quick?
but I mean, you think
And you know what? Believe it or not, Sean, I mean, the Wizards have led throughout the series a lot more than the Celtics. I mean, I know some are up in the series, but I mean, if you look at the stats and if you look at, if you break it down minute by minute, the Celtics they've been behind a lot throughout those first 3 games. If you look at all the minutes combined, they just happen to have the big fourth quarters from Isaiah, which helped them in Game 3, and of course the extra 9 points in overtime. And then in Game 1 and 2, you saw the Wizards sort of control the momentum, and the Celtics just grab it from them at the perfect time and pull out a win. Both of those games. And, both of those games, the Celtics had to come back from behind. I mean, the Wizards had a solid lead at solid points per game, and that's including Game 2 when they had a 6-point lead with only 3 minutes to go. I mean, Isaiah Thomas out of that timeout hit that 3. He found Rozier in the corner for that 3 that tied the game up with under 2 minutes left.
That was awesome.
I mean, that was the back-to-back play that really put them in it. And, of course, Isaiah Thomas scoring 29 points between the fourth quarter and the overtime, pushed them over.
Well, I don't know. I'm still on Team Olynyk to get into the starting lineup, man.
I want to ask you guys, you three, something. All 3 games, as you said, your point, they've started out very slow. Do you think that's something that Stevens needs to address pregame, or do you think it's just adding another player into the start, or adding a different player into the starting lineup? Because I think
it's rotational.
Because
I think it's rotational.
I don't know, because if you look at them quarters 2 through 4. They're fine. It's just that one quarter, and it's not like their lineup is that much different.
Well, the problem with Brad Stevens just randomly just selecting whoever to be that 5th starter is how does that affect the bench? Because in Game 3, that was the only time that the Wizards bench outplayed the Celtics bench, and the Celtics bench has been crucial throughout the playoffs. Not just against the Wizards.
If Gerald
Green
plays 2 minutes,
well, you
can count him as
Gerald Green,
a starter.
Gerald Green is hit or miss.
Yeah, but I mean, in game one, he played 2 minutes, bro.
No, I get you, but
every point that Marcus Smart scored counted as bench point. You know what I mean?
I get you, but every change has resulted in something good, right? Other than Game 3, but you want to put Kelly Olynyk into the starting lineup.
Yep.
Okay. So
100%.
So then, who's your offense going to come from off the bench if Marcus Smart is not producing?
I'm okay because you know what? The bench versus the starters, like the bench versus starters, you're all on the same fucking team.
No, I get it.
Right? So I get what you're saying, right? Minutes wise. I think Gerald Green is much more comfortable coming off the bench. I think Jaylen Brown is much more comfortable coming off the bench.
Yep.
I think Marcus Smart is much more comfortable coming off the bench.
That would be my pick.
And I believe that Kelly Olynyk, just from the way he's played, has a matchup advantage against the Wizards. I am not a Kelly Olynyk guy. You know that.
But if
I am not a fan of Kelly Olynyk's game.
I get you. We've talked about that.
And in the Bulls series, he was the worst player on the floor. But this series, He's stepped up. Yeah, exactly.
stepping up, but at
he's
the same
stepped up and
time,
he's
it's
shown
like-
he can dominate. He can dominate. Who's going to guard him? Markieff Morris is going to be taken out of the paint, right? He's going to have to try to guard Kelly Olynyk on 3-point line.
Will be playing the 4.
Yeah, definitely Olynyk plays the 4 and Horford plays the 5.
I don't know.
But I also have a problem with Horford as well playing the 5. Jesus Christ.
Horford's not
Box
a 5.
the fucking court. Yes, he has to be. He has to be the 5.
But he's not a real 5.
He should be.
He's a power forward.
He should be the 5.
I don't know.
He's not a center.
I think the way the Wizards played in Game 3, they wanted to, puff their chest out. Kelly Olynyk is not that guy. That's going to stop that.
I don't think you need that though. I think that was the game. That was the game plan.
But you
the
don't
Wizards
think-
have shown the entire year that if you come down to Washington and they want to beat you, they can beat you. They were one of the best home teams all year.
No, you're right, but
they were one of the worst away teams all year. So I mean, if if they get punked in a 2-game series on the road in Boston, 2 straight games, they had a double-digit lead and they blew it.
But they didn't get.
Then they come
punked,
back
though.
home. Yeah, they did because they had a double-digit lead and they lost.
But the fact is that they had a double-digit lead because of the first quarter.
Right, that's what I'm saying. though. If you
saying
go
is-
into Boston,
what I'm saying is, do you really think it's the lineup, or do you think it's their mentality
No,
going into the game?
I think Olynyk's going to get punked early, and he's soft, and that's it. After what
why
happened,
you got to make me try to defend Olynyk?
I
hate Olynyk. I'm not an
I
Olynyk
think-
guy. I can't wait till he's not on the Suns anymore. All I
think-
got to say is that he was the best first quarter player
Y'all could
on
have
this team.
Y'all could have had the Greek Freak.
No, it's a revisionist history.
All right, me personally, I would try Jaylen Brown
Yeah.
in Game 4. That's just me.
Dude, he's one of the toughest players on the team.
That's just me.
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if it happened. Brad Stevens has been going to him
Really?
in different times and different moments. But I mean, honestly, regardless of who starts, it doesn't necessarily matter in terms of
Exactly.
who's gonna finish the games, because Marcus Smart's gonna be in that lineup
Right.
with the rest of the starting 4. But at the same time, I think if you're going to that first quarter, I think it's supposed to be a little bit more on the defensive end. You don't want the Wizards to get out to another huge lead or another quick start like they have been doing throughout the series.
First off, Joel saying Jaylen Brown should start is blowing my mind. Jaylen Brown's not going to.
He didn't start during the regular season. He didn't play well during the regular season when he was a starter.
He played okay when there were injuries.
Who's better, Kelly Olynyk or Jaylen Brown?
In this series, I would say Kelly Olynyk 100 times out of 100 times.
In this series alone,
100%.
but it's close.
But Sway,
so why is that ridiculous to
Sway,
say that Jaylen? Who's tougher?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying Sway says Marcus Smart, but
Marcus Smart might be, other than Isaiah, the toughest player on the team.
I know.
Yeah.
Sway, so why Marcus Smart over anybody else? Like, I know that the Wizards have been scoring, right, in the first quarter. They've averaged 40 points a game in the first quarter. But Marcus Smart has been playing a lot in the first quarter, and he hasn't done anything at all this entire series, defensively or offensively.
He's turned the ball over.
He's just turned the ball over.
Yo,
That's what I mean.
turnovers.
Like Sway,
Mad
I get
turnovers.
the idea of putting a defensive-minded player in the game in the starting lineup because you want to reduce the guard play, but Marcus Smart has played like dog shit the entire series.
Yeah, but Sean, he hasn't started any of these games, though. And the fact that Marcus Smart has been sort of like the ball handler coming off the bench, I mean, putting him in that starting 5 wouldn't put him in that same situation. He wouldn't have to take the ball up. He would just be in for defensive purposes, making sure Otto Porter doesn't go off. Of course, Bradley Beal and Isaiah Thomas. I mean, Bradley Beal and John Wall, between Isaiah Thomas and Avery Bradley, those two are going to guard those guys, and then they're interchangeable. Whether Marcus Smart gets caught in the switch, Marcus Smart can guard one of those guys in the backcourt. And I like my chances of seeing him against someone like Otto Porter. He could take care of Otto Porter. That's someone that doesn't have to necessarily worry about if Marcus Smart is on him.
Yeah, but I don't know about that, though, because then you think if Marcus Smart's starting and you're going to guard him against Otto Porter, then who the hell does Isaiah guard? Markieff Morris?
No, Isaiah's going to have to guard. He's going to guard Bradley Beal the way he's been doing. And Avery Bradley will be on John Wall.
I know, man.
Yeah, but the way the Wizards went after the way the Wizards were playing offense was almost anybody who had the ball. If Isaiah was guarding them, they were going after him.
They were going
So
after
if you
him,
put
right?
Especially Porter.
if you put Isaiah on Bradley Beal, he's going to go after him, and Bradley Beal will torch Isaiah on defense.
He hasn't been shooting that well though in the series.
But that's the way
we see the Wizards go to Otto Porter down
but that's
low
the
with
way
Isaiah
he's
there.
gonna.
Marcus Smart is there. He won't allow that switch.
Yeah, but okay. All right, I see what you're saying. If Marcus Smart starts guarding Bradley Beal, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Nah,
If he gets caught on the switch,
I think
because if they screen off for Bradley Beal, then Marcus Smart's gonna be right there to guard him. Whereas if Bradley Beal is taking a jump shot, if Bradley Beal is gonna take a jump shot over Isaiah, I like my chances. I really do.
But the thing is, he's not stupid. If he sees Isaiah on him, he's taking him to the rim, and that's how he's gonna get his confidence back.
Off the jump, you put Isaiah on John Wall.
No. What?
Yes, 100%.
No.
Nope, 100%.
No.
You're overthinking it. You put Isaiah on John Wall.
John Wall will torch Isaiah.
Yo, hold on. Off the jump, not for the entire game. Off the starting lineup, you shut down Bradley Beal with Avery Bradley. You put Crowder on Porter. You don't let him get into it. If John Wall's the only guy scoring in the first quarter and he can't pass because you're going to be okay. I think we're overthinking it. You put size in the lineup. You put Kelly Olynyk in the lineup, and you make sure that John Wall's the only guy who's trying to go off in the first quarter.
The reason why I agree with you, Dutra, in saying that is because
you just said you just made a flabbergasted look when I said that.
Yeah, because
Which
the way
nobody saw until you said it.
Because the way they switch in the NBA now, if you start Isaiah on John Wall, he'll probably not end on him.
Which I get.
But if you're telling me that you want Isaiah to straight up guard John Wall, hell no.
I'm just
hell
saying.
No.
I'm just saying though. I'm saying this is that Brad Stevens shouldn't get too creative. Put size out there, put scoring out there, and let whatever will be. Isaiah guard Wall. Let Bradley get on the switch. Let Horford guard Gortat, and then the rest will just happen. Because if you're gonna try to play an offensive matchup in DC, which I think is a big thing to point out, in DC, if you're trying to match up against the Washington Wizards in Washington, D.C., where they've been really good, and you're trying to outwit them at home, it's not going to work. You play your five best. The five best in the first quarter has been Kelly Olynyk, and you just throw them into the starting lineup. I think it's ABC, easy, done, do it tomorrow, yesterday.
Game 4 predictions, Sway. How do you see this playing out in DC?
Oh man, we're going to be in for probably the best game of the series. I think it's going to come down to the wire, and I think the Wizards are going to win it. I really do, but that doesn't necessarily mean they will win the series. I mean, tying the series up at 2. Obviously, the Celtics still have home court in their favor. You know, this series does go 7, which I think it will go 7. Celtics still have home court, and I think that really helps them against a team like the Wizards. I think the Wizards are sort of, when it comes down to like the fourth quarter or the nitty-gritty, and when the Celtics really get rolling against them, they really succumb to being in Boston. I don't know what it is, but you don't see that same second half intensity that we saw in Game 3. And another key point for the Celtics for point of emphasis, it has to be that third quarter. I mean, they come out at halftime, and you just don't see sort of the same intensity that you see in the second quarter of the Celtics. So that's going to be really important for them, too. I mean, of course, the first quarter is important because the Wizards have been getting out to quick starts throughout the series, but so is the third quarter. I mean, that Game 2, I mean, if Isaiah doesn't go off, I mean, look, you look at that double-digit lead that the Wizards had in the third quarter, that was a big reason why the Celtics were able to, or the Celtics didn't, blow them out, or maybe not blow them out, but that was a big reason why the Celtics didn't comfortably win that game, because the Wizards had that big advantage, that huge cushion, and the Celtics were able to get out of that. But if they fall to a similar deficit, a similar third quarter deficit in Game 4, I think it's going to be much harder for the Celtics to call out of the way they did in Game 2. There
it is. You can follow Josue on Twitter at JOE_SWAY. He's got some hot takes, especially since he's big timing us now these days.
He's basically got Fred Hoiberg fired, and he's like, "Yeah, fuck you guys, I'm going on the road, bro."
Please don't piss off Scott Brooks, because then we're gonna have people from Washington, from their media, trying to get at us, and then when we try to invite them on, they don't want to come on. You know what I mean?
I mean, Fred Hoiberg, Scott Brooks, that's just two completely different coaches in terms of their attitude. I mean, Scott Brooks has been very lighthearted and trying to joke around with the media and stuff. I think it's because of what happened with Fred Hoiberg, man.
Oh, he's afraid of sway.
He's afraid one of these Boston media reporters is going to piss him off to the point where he has to walk off the stage. So he's been very very friendly with the media throughout this series.
I hope you just said reporter in quotation marks, bro.
That's right.
I hope you had the finger quotation marks going up on when he said that shit.
Yeah. No, when you introduce yourself, before you ask a question, just say, Joseph Pavone, reporter with the quotation fingers.
Quotation fingers, man. That's key for you going across. They're going where you're going.
All right, bro. Don't have too much fun down there. You know, we need your hot takes after Game 4. And how is it down there, by the way, in terms of like fan wise? And you know, it's nothing like Boston, right?
No, man. And it's funny because it seemed like the crowd was split until the Wizards got up to a big lead. I mean, there's a lot of Celtics fans there. You heard the Let's Go Celtics chant after the Oubre thing. The chant started going, and the Wizards fans kind of got riled up over that. And then once the Wizards got rolling, that's when the crowd kind of took over. But it's funny because before the game, I mean, right at tip-off, it felt like the place was almost empty. You know, it's not a lot of empty seats.
Yeah. You
saw a lot of people still, you know, in the back getting drinks and stuff. It's just a very different fan base. And then you saw the same thing in the third quarter. Like, a lot of people were still chilling by the bar, you know, instead of getting to their seats for the second half. But, yeah, I mean, if the Celtics get rolling, I mean, that crowd, I'm telling you, I wouldn't be surprised if you see the same thing in Game 4. We see a lot of Celtics fans and a lot of green jerseys in the uniform. I mean, in the crowd.
Cool. Follow the Causeway Street account on Snapchat. That's Sway that's putting up all the cool videos and pics. And follow us on Twitter because you'll hear the post-game and pre-game quotes from coaches and players. So keep doing your thing, and we'll check in with you soon.
Yeah, let me know how to.
Absolutely, guys. Appreciate it, man. I'll be going to practice tomorrow, so I'll throw something up there on Causeway Street on the blog from the reaction from the players and coaches.
Hey, mad respect, Sway.
Yeah, Sway. Let me know
making big moves.
Let me know how that Washington D.C. good taste. All right.
Oh my God.
You had to go there, man.
You have to be there.
What's wrong?
Let me know how.
The Celtics practice at Georgetown University, man. Maybe I should hang out and all that.
And on that note,
yo,
we'll talk to you soon.
How's Trump doing down there, bro? Do you say what up to Trump, bro?
Later, fellas.
All right, peace. All right, Game 4. How do we see this playing out? Does Oubre get suspended?
Yes.
He's
I don't think he will. I think he should, but I don't think he will.
I think
does it really matter though?
I'll tell you this. You were talking about the bench earlier. I think the bench for the Wizards is not as deep as the bench for the Celtics.
No.
So they need Oubre. If Wall doesn't go off, or if Beal doesn't go off, or if Porter doesn't go off, because if Porter is hit or miss, if Porter's not going off, what did we see in the first two games? Oubre had like 12 points in each of the first two games.
Well, he's been the only one off the bench really
that was producing, right?
But in Game 3, we saw
Porter's go
without
I'm talking about the bench.
Yeah,
we saw
Bogdanovich.
Thank you,
Bogdanovich.
Without
we saw him go off for the first time in the series. That can't happen again.
Double B, nothing better than a double B.
That can't happen again.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but without Oubre, aren't they running on like a 6 or 7 man roster?
Well, it depends.
They only play.
It depends.
Does
he want to play? Does he want to play Jennings again? Does Brooks want to play Jennings some more?
Jennings is a fucking
Brooks
joke.
was pissed at Jennings. He was pissed
of course
at
he was.
Jennings.
How do you?
Because he was acting like a bitch.
That's what I'm saying. But how do you try to play a mental game with someone when you're up 25, 30 points? What was the point of that?
Especially a younger ass dude.
That's what I'm saying. What was the point of that?
And you're the one who looks like the asshole.
Well,
he did.
He did admit that he started it, but he says that Rozier wouldn't stop. But
no,
at this point,
Jennings started it and he wouldn't stop. And everyone knows Brandon Jennings.
Jennings 100% started it, and I wouldn't know. I don't
Rozier
know if I would
didn't
say,
back down from it. That's
exactly.
Okay.
That's how I would put. Like I wouldn't say Jennings ended it, but he started it so hard that Rozier had no other option but to like retaliate.
All right,
he would just look like the biggest bitch in the world if he didn't do something.
Final question. Sway says the Wizards win Game 4. Who wins Game 4, Dutra?
I really think the Celtics are going to win Game 4 for a couple of reasons. First off, Oubre will be suspended. That doesn't really matter too much in a series.
We just mentioned that.
It matters
at all.
It
really matter.
matters
But I think it has something to play to it. I think Brad Stevens is going to find that sweet magic lineup.
Like if you're on the Celtics, you want him to get suspended, but it really doesn't affect the series one way or another.
Right. I mean, it just puts the Wizards at a little bit of a loss because Oubre is one of those guys. He's lanky, he's tall, he's a good defender, can defend. When he switches on to Thomas, that's a tough matchup for Thomas, right? If you have Porter and Oubre coming off that pick and roll, you can swap in and out. That's a weapon for Washington. So I think that's where you're going to see Oubre missed. Also, I truly think that Brad Stevens is going to push that magic button. Maybe it's not Olynyk. Maybe I'm wrong. But maybe Brad Stevens knows something else. Maybe it's Jerebko. Maybe it's Jaylen Brown. Right. Whoever he is who's going to insert into that starting lineup is going to make a lot of sense. after we see it happen. So I think that Stevens is gonna find that magic potion, shake it up, pour it all over the starting lineup. You know what I mean? Drip, 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 drip. But I'm just saying, the Celtics will not go down early in this game.
Yeah.
All right.
Whether they win or lose, I don't know. But I know they won't go down early.
No,
I
but
know
you said they were going to win. Are you sticking with it?
I'm assuming they're going to win.
All right.
There's a couple things I agree with them there. First of all, I think the Celtics are going to win Game 4. Second of all,
what about the Suns though?
Hey man. Second of all, I think it's because of whatever Brad Stevens does, because he's a much better coach than Scott Brooks. Period. If Scott Brooks were a good coach, he'd have a ring on his finger right now with the team he had in Oklahoma City. Let's be honest for a second. Number 3, I think Isaiah. I think Isaiah and Stevens are going to have a serious sit down and talk and be like, this is how you're going to attack them with the new way that they're guarding you now. Because Isaiah is one of the most unguardable players in the league. There's not like a defensive strategy. There is a defensive strategy that you can put against him in one game. But if he and his coach or he himself is smart enough, which he is, and him and Stevens are, they'll figure something out to trick the Wizards. I think he's going to go off for at least 30, 35, maybe 40, even on the road, and they're gonna squeak one out by 4 or 5 points, whether it's regulation or overtime.
All right, I think the Celtics win Game 4.
3 for 3, baby.
I feel like mentally the Celtics need a win on the road, especially in the Verizon Center. I just think it's a mental thing.
Yep.
Technically, they don't really need it because they have home court advantage, but winning Game 4 and having that momentum going in coming back to the Garden in Game 5 would be huge right now for this team.
Well, I mean, also too, Game 4 in a 2-1 series, it's a swing game, baby.
Yeah,
it either makes it a series or it makes it 100%. The Celtics are in control of this series.
What did they say? What's the saying? It's not a series until the road team wins.
Right? Exactly. So
this would be a perfect moment.
If you're looking at the series and you say, "Oh, the Celtics won two games in a row at home," great. Did they win on the road? They need to win on the road.
Yeah, they do.
That's what I was saying earlier about how it annoys me when people talk about, the home teams won up 2-0, series over. Like, no. That's what they're supposed to do. Yeah. They're supposed to win those games.
I give credit to the Wizards because they took advantage after Game 2, an emotionally charged game, 1 day rest, travel day, because it was an overtime win for the Celtics. Isaiah played bananas, insane. They did what they were supposed to do. Win at home. If there was one game that they definitely needed to win, was Game 3. So the Celtics need to counterattack that. And I think they're going to take care of business in Game 4 at the Verizon Center, and the Celtics will come back 3-1.
There you go.
And the only good thing about the Wizards winning in Game 3 is that there's going to be a Game 5. And for you Celtics fans, the best way to enjoy the playoffs is live. And how do you do that? By visiting the SeatGeek app.
Tell them how you do it, Joel.
You got to visit that SeatGeek app, the smartest and easiest way to buy and sell sports and concert tickets online. And if you download the mobile app, you can get a $20 rebate on your first purchase when you download the app, and you go to the settings tab and you click add a promo code and you enter the code word Causeway.
What do you get when you enter that promo code Causeway?
When you enter the promo code, they'll get a $20 rebate on your first purchase. So visit the SeatGeek app. You download that onto your mobile device. You go to the settings tab and you add the promo code Causeway, and you can enjoy a $20 rebate and enjoy the Celtics game at the TD Garden.
I'll tell you this. I went to the Red Sox game the other night. Used my SeatGeek app.
For the first time?
For the first time.
Nice.
Put in that code Causeway. Got my tickets, and I got a $20 rebate. So now I'm going to use the SeatGeek app again. Use my $20 rebate. So I'm just saying it's easy. It brings in the best prices, and just download that app, man. The SeatGeek app on your phone.
SeatGeek, the way to go.
It's the way to go. Come on.
SeatGeek. Oh. You know you're going to the game.
Beautiful, guys. That was beautiful. And we're wrapping up this episode the only way we wrap up every single episode.
Pow, 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 pow.
In case you missed it.
In case you missed it. The Celtics released a statement clarifying why Isaiah Thomas missed the start of the second half in Game 3 regarding his injuries to his teeth.
Yeah.
teeth?
No,
The
it
teeth
was a
there.
couple
It
teeth.
was a couple teeth. It wasn't just
a couple
Teeth?
So there was a report.
Teeth with an F.
There was a
Teeth.
report during like all day Friday about how Isaiah actually had a fractured jaw, but that's not the case. This is why the Celtics released their statement. Isaiah Thomas sustained multiple front teeth injuries, including a complete fractured tooth and 2 other teeth shifted that required extensive oral surgery to stabilize.
That sucks.
He did not suffer a fractured or broken jaw.
Teeth.
Thomas is currently wearing a 4-piece.
Teeth suck.
He's wearing a 4-piece temporary bridge that cracked after being re-injured, in the first half of Game 3. And the spanning bridge is necessary to protect and stabilize the injuries. Members of the Celtics medical staff anticipated the need to replace the temporary bridge, and Thomas will receive a permanent bridge at a future date.
Nah, fuck teeth, man.
Whoa.
Fuck teeth.
He needs that, man. He can't smile without the teeth.
Nah, fuck teeth.
Dude, teeth.
Nah, if I could eat successfully with my life without teeth,
Hell
I
yeah.
would just do it.
Hell
Fuck
yeah.
teeth. You
But
know
you
what?
can't bite anything hard.
No,
Teeth are the worst thing.
if my gums could just adapt to be hard and
Dude, teeth are
and be
the
able-
worst thing. Like,
yeah. If you're a dentist and you're listening to this podcast, just stop listening.
Why doesn't healthcare, by the way, cover teeth?
I fucking hate dentists.
You got to have dental care
No,
and
right?
healthcare. What's up with that?
Right.
That should cover, that's part of your
I'm
body.
just saying. You know why? Dentists realized, hey, you know what? Teeth have their own fucking world in this mouth.
It's almost like it's a luxury to have your teeth. And
Exactly.
it shouldn't be.
Which is fucking ridiculous.
dude,
and you know what? And you know what?
Healthcare should include dental.
Oh,
Yeah.
you just blew Tunis' mind, dude. He's never gonna stop talking about this shit.
ridiculous.
He's all getting a high
Dude,
falsetto
last
right now.
year I went to the
Yeah.
dentist. I had a cavity. I paid like 120 just for my checkup, and then they say you got a cavity. Oh, that'll be another $450.
Yeah.
What the fuck, man?
You know what? I'm gonna give everyone.
$450 to get a
I'm gonna give everyone a little bit of a PSA right now. Okay. I only believe in 2.
$450.
I only believe in 2 conspiracy theories. Okay, 2.
That's
Only 2.
Yo.
Only 2. 1. Stevie Wonder is not blind. This has nothing to do with this conversation. Okay. The other one.
Man, I never thought about that, but it might be true.
It is.
Listen to our
Number 2.
Hold on, listen to the one and only after show that we've had that we a few months ago,
Why?
and you'll understand
Why?
what Duce
Why?
Duce says
It's-
this thing about Stevie
I
Wonder.
just
I can't get
explained
into it.
it.
We can't get into it.
Listen to
It's
this.
too long. It's too long. I'll tell you after the show.
Number 2. Flossing
Does nothing.
is actually worse for your teeth and was made up by dentists to
think
make you
so?
be coming back.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Who flosses? The people that go to the fucking dentist all the fucking time. I don't floss.
Girls.
I don't go to the dentist. And guess what? My teeth are fucking fine.
Yeah, girls.
Girls floss because guess what? Oh, you have your white teeth. You want your white? You better floss more. Oh, you keep flossing. When you get that toothache, come on back in.
Dude.
When you want a cavity, come on back in.
Dude.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I'm
Yeah.
fucking telling you. No one knows teeth. Teeth are like a foreign fucking language to humans.
People say like lions' teeth and tigers' teeth are healthier than humans' teeth.
All
Trust
right.
me.
Isaiah, I feel you, bro. Fuck those dentists. You should have just left your teeth out. I don't get why you went to the dentist. I know it's all cosmetic. I know you're on NBA and you're on national TV. You don't be the guy with a missing tooth.
My man spent at least 10 hours in that dental chair.
I'm just saying though. I'm just saying.
Crazy.
Got to fix his choppers, man. Got to fix his choppers.
He could have capitalized on that marketing opportunity. You don't know who Isaiah Thomas is? He's the guy with one tooth. Buy his shoes.
You can't handle the tooth.
You can't. So many things could happen.
Yeah.
He just wanted to.
The new slogan.
Isaiah, you
The
missed
new
out
slogan.
there. You missed out.
I think he preferred to have his choppers. In case you missed it, the Spurs have announced that Tony Parker will miss the rest of the playoffs with a ruptured left quad. Remember last week how I was like, hey, what if CP3 gets called up by the Spurs? Like, yo, you can be our new starting point guard. And Tony Parker will be coming off the bench. Mm-hmm. I don't know how long Tony Parker's going to be out for, but
Tony
the
Parker.
Spurs are going to be calling up CP3 after the season ends.
Well, they're gonna have to be calling
Dude,
the
if the
Clips.
Spurs get CP3, that's a problem.
I got that. In case you missed it, the Warriors head coach Steve Kerr, if you guys haven't noticed, he's been out since Game 3
Yo, I
of
haven't
the
noticed.
first round.
I
against
haven't
the
noticed
Trailblazers.
because that head coaching. Any one of us three could do that. Hey,
right.
Steph, Kevin, Clay, go out there and shoot some threes.
All right, so can I explain
That's
why?
what you got to do.
Can I explain why? Kerr underwent back surgery 2 years ago, and he's been suffering from complications such as severe headaches, nausea, and dizziness. He's been receiving treatment at the Stanford University Medical Center, and he's been seeing a specialist at Duke University and has been forced to take a leave of absence. According to the team officials, he's not likely to return at all during the Warriors-Jazz series.
You don't need to be a crazy great coach to coach that team. I'm not trying to trash on his health or whatever.
No, you did.
All I'm saying, no,
You did.
a little bit, but
That didn't take too much convincing.
Seriously.
all I'm saying is
All right,
that
well,
team is the most stacked team.
all I gotta say is Steve
Like-
Kerr smokes a lot of weed.
Yeah, and that's why you gotta respect him.
Steve Kerr smokes a lot of bud,
Yeah.
so he better find some better bud.
I think the point of the story is like
You
at
sit
what
down in
point
front of Tunis?
at what point does he say, you know what, I can't coach anymore? That
All right.
At first I thought, oh, he's taking some time off because they played against Trailblazers.
Taking some
You know what I
time
mean?
off in
You
the
know what?
playoffs.
You know
Have
what?
you ever heard of a head coach taking time off in the playoffs?
No, I'm rooting for Steve Kerr now.
In case you missed it, despite the city of Boston having a dark cloud right now, a lead story all over the country, and in lieu of Adam Jones and his whole ordeal between the Red Sox and the Baltimore Orioles being called the N-word this week, but apparently it's happened several times before in the past. But LeBron James offered his take, saying that he's been to Boston hundreds of times, never been called the N-word, loves coming to Boston, says that racism exists everywhere.
Well, he's right that racism exists everywhere.
Yeah, it's
But I highly doubt he's never been called the N-word in Boston.
He says he never has. I don't think he would lie about that. LeBron, really?
I mean, obviously,
I know. That's why I break this story up.
I don't think that Boston is racist at all.
He says he's never heard
I
it.
gotta.
Despite other players like Draymond Green.
This is all I'm gonna say about this. Is 100% he's been called the N-word in Boston, because 100% every city he's played in, he's been called the N-word.
I don't know, man. I believe him when he says he hasn't been called the N-word here in Boston.
You know what? If people in Boston hate LeBron James, and there are racist people in Boston who also hate LeBron James, so 100% at some point in time, some dude was drunk and is racist and dropped the N-bomb on him. Like, it definitely happened. We've been playing LeBron. He's been in the league since 2004.
I understand.
Like, this just makes LeBron
2003.
James. This just makes LeBron James, to me, like, you're not fucking helping LeBron. Like, shut the fuck up. 100% he's been called the N-word in Boston.
He's probably been called the N-word in every city he's been
That's
in.
exactly what I just said.
Like, that's what annoys me the most about all this talk. First of all, Boston, because we're dominant in sports for the last 20 years, people hate us. ESPN hates us. And that's why people don't understand. Like, Adam Jones had a banana peel thrown at him in San Francisco, right? Like, there's racism. Obviously, yes, there's racism in Boston. There's racism in every single city in America, right? But it's just annoying that we get singled out. And what annoys me the most is, like, all these people coming out, and they pretty much generalize Boston as a whole, being like, it's the most racist city ever. Like, I've lived in this city my entire life. People look at me as a black man like I'm mulatto, but obviously I'm not white.
We'll put a picture up on the cause.
The only racism I've ever dealt with in Boston is from cops, which you'll get anywhere. Like, I've been pulled over by cops for no reason before many times, and as long as you're not an asshole about it, and it's not right, obviously, but as long as you're not stupid about it and give them attitude or anything, they're going to let you go. I've gotten many unwritten warnings, at least 20 in my life, living in Boston. But you'll get that any city you ever live in, right? Cops are going to single out minorities. Any city you live in. I've never gone into a bar or anything like these ESPN people. The ESPN guy, he said, I went to a bar right after a Celtics game across from the Garden. I walked in there, what's his name? There was music blasting and everything, and right when he walked in, everybody stared at him and the music turned off. That's a lie.
It's a blatant lie.
That's a lie.
That's
never. I lived in the North End 5 minutes away from the Garden
And
for
those
2
Italians
years.
are racist as fuck. I'll tell you that.
For 2 years I lived there, and every bar I ever walked into, yeah, I mean, maybe they looked at me weird. I never noticed it, but they ain't gonna turn the music off and just stare at me. Like you're all these people are over exaggerating about their shit. And what annoys me the most is all these people who are trashing on Boston, talking about how big of a racist city it is, all these situations they've been into where it's racist, are people who aren't Bostonians, people who have been here a couple times, people who have lived here for a couple years. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I've literally lived here my entire life. And like I said, the only situation I've ever been feeling in my head being like, this is racist right now, is from a cop. And that'll happen anywhere. And even if I went to a bar and I felt like I was getting racism towards me, that shit'll happen anywhere.
Yeah,
that'll happen anywhere.
My biggest
like,
thing,
don't fucking try to act like it's only Boston.
My biggest thing.
That's
is
what pisses me off. Like, sorry to. But if this Adam Jones thing happened in Seattle or something, I don't think this big a deal would have been made of it.
No, and I think
Right?
you're right, Tunis, because why don't you ever hear of racism in the news in Boston unless it has to do with sports? Why?
That's a good point.
Why?
A good point.
The
And why?
only time you ever hear it's racism is if it's sports.
Yeah, that's true.
What the fuck is that? Racism in sports is an issue, and I get that.
But dig a
But
little
I
bit deeper.
mean, if you're looking at Boston as a whole,
You can't do that.
you
Like,
go to fucking Florida and they got Ku Klux Klan fucking
Yeah,
rallies
right.
in the middle of fucking nowhere. Where you come to Boston and, I mean, I'm sorry. I'm white. Whatever. I'm white.
Shit, you could have
It-
fooled
yo,
me.
man, hey, talk, man.
If
Who
I
cares,
thought
man? Who
that
cares?
Boston was a racist city, I wouldn't be as proud to be from Boston as I am.
Hell yeah.
Now, there are racist
Hell
people
yeah.
in Boston.
Hell yeah.
If I was from Mississippi, if I was from Arkansas, if I was from fucking
Alabama.
down south, right? And I was like, hey, I'm from Alabama, and whatever.
Like, think about.
I would be worried about being viewed as racist, but I'm from Boston. I don't care. Like, I'm never going to think just because, and I don't know why it's a big deal in sports in Boston, but that's the only time you ever hear
because people are
racism being brought
haters.
up in Boston.
But I think let's take a look at this point right here, like deeper into the sports and the sports aspect. Hold on.
Yep.
The sports aspect of especially what Boston fans have been hearing this week. Just because of certain fans or a couple of people here and there say or do things that are, looked at as being a racist doesn't mean you pigeonhole the whole
Exactly.
city, right?
And that-
Okay, but what about where these people actually live? Some of these people, right? Some of these fans that go to these games, they come into Boston maybe once or twice, maybe 3 times a year. Maybe they
from
live up in Maine or New Hampshire.
Let's
or
blame
Vermont.
them. Let's
The
blame
thing
them.
is-
You know what I'm saying?
The
So
thing
then
is-
you
Nah,
can't.
Vermont's very liberal.
Yeah,
The thing is, like you said, it's a couple. It's
Yeah.
whoever.
but it doesn't mean that
Whoever
those
was
people
yelling-
that they live in the city too.
Yeah. But the thing is, whoever was yelling at Adam Jones or whatever, it was 2 or 3 people, probably at most, right?
Yeah.
Whoever the N-word was coming out of their mouth, 2 or 3 people, right? You gonna tell me you gonna go to any other city and tell me that there's not 2 or 3 racist people there? Like, it's just ignorant people. There's gonna be ignorant people in every fucking city in the world.
And I
Like,
do get the
like-
racist past in Boston with
Yeah,
the busing stuff, but that was years and years ago, man. Like, I get Irish people are looked on, and I bet a lot of Irish people that are racist as fuck. And so Southie is a big Irish town, right? So, I mean, you're looking at that, you say, all right, there's probably a lot of racist people in Southie. It's a small part of Boston that
But is there not
shouldn't
a
define the
Southie in,
entire
like,
city.
every other city?
But
Like,
but exactly, and you know what? Boston as a whole is not a racist city because it does not embrace any of that.
No.
Anything that ever comes up, the whole city rises up and says this is wrong. So for you to label Boston as a racist city is absolutely ridiculous. Racism is alive in every fucking town, every city,
Thank you.
anywhere you look, you're gonna find racism. It's how you react to that as a
Dude,
community
and look how
that
we
makes it
reacted
real.
to it.
Exactly.
Look how we reacted
That's
to
all.
it the
That's
next
all I gotta
day.
say. And
Adam
it pisses
Jones-
me off. It pisses
Adam
me
Jones
off. But I mean,
himself said it.
Yeah, I
he
just
was
think
like,
I just-
I couldn't believe. I didn't expect that reaction at all. The next day, we gave him a standing applause because we were like, yo, We don't fucking stand up. We're not those fucking dumbass ignorant people
Yeah.
yelling the N-word at you and
Yeah,
shit. Like we're
stupid,
not
but-
those people.
I don't know. Let's
And
keep.
and like you said, it's how you react to it. That's how we reacted to it. Like, yo, we're not gonna fucking go out and like not do anything about the next
that
day.
shit happens in Atlanta. He said something like that in Atlanta. You better watch out for the next game they come out to. He'll probably have to sit the next game. For real.
No, I mean, I just thought it was worth, bringing it up. It's the elephant in the room.
Man. It really,
I
it
just had to
really,
address it real
it
quick.
really pisses
Damn,
me
we
off.
went on a tangent on that
Yeah,
shit.
we did.
man.
No, it
This is a
really
4-hour
pisses
episode.
me off. It really pisses me off.
In case you missed it, some happy news right now.
Nice.
Um,
Nobody died?
Nobody died.
Nice.
Oh, at least like no one that I know passed away. People die every day, but
Sorry.
it's not that I bring it up on
We
the,
all
on,
die
on,
at some
on the in case you missed it. But
Relax.
Kevin Garnett was asked to come out of retirement and join the Cavs after Andrew Bogut went down with his injury 40 seconds into his debut with the Cavs back in March. And according to Coach Tyronn Lue, the big ticket said, hell no.
He said, fuck you, bitch. I ain't playing for your bitch ass.
I don't know why Tyronn Lue would even bring that up, but that's
said it, though.
that's a no-brainer when it comes to KG trying to join LeBron James to try to win another title. That's no.
fucking blasphemy.
KG hates
Blasphemous.
LeBron.
Blasphemous. In case you missed it, obviously I couldn't end this podcast without bringing up Paul Pierce. After 19 years and the Clippers sucking the last 2 years, getting knocked out of the first round, his career has come to an end.
He would have been better off being back with the Celtics. last
For real,
year.
right? But you got to check out his tribute video that it's up on the Causeway Street blog website. And I'm sure there'll be more Paul Pierce content up there soon because, Celtics are in the middle of a playoff run, so it'll be up there. Whit Grossbeck, one of the owners of the Celtics, said that he's going to be the last number 34 ever that any Celtic ever wears again.
Of course.
My question is, he is going to sign that one-day contract, but what if somebody convinces him to come back one more year for that 20th season?
Not going to happen.
No?
Unless it's the Celtics.
That's what I'm saying. Just the Celtics. I'm saying.
Nah,
If somebody in the Celtics convince him to come back that one more year?
I don't know.
No?
I don't want to see him in the Celtics uniform.
No?
Not the way he's been playing.
Well, he barely played. It wasn't.
I just feel like that's probably was for a
He was
reason. Probably
actually-
the best of them.
You're on that too? No, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that.
Did you see the Celtics?
Yeah, that was next.
Yeah, that shit's
What?
fucking go to it.
What?
Well, I mean, I just wanted to, just say that I can't talk about the Celtics without bringing up Paul Pierce,
Hell yeah. No,
greatest Celtics of our generation.
I think we've all seen this coming, though. I think it's not a surprise. So, I'll miss you, Paul. My favorite Celtic of all time.
Here's to you,
It's
man.
gonna be a great
truth.
night. It's gonna be a great night next year when they retire his number.
Well, speaking of Pierce, Sears fans don't have to wait too long to see him on TV because the truth is going to be on this Monday.
7:30.
This Monday with KG on Area 21. But wait, this is what we've all been waiting for. But
What?
other than the two future Hall of Famers, he'll be joined by Rondo, Perk, and Big Baby. It's the Celtics 2008 reunion on Area 21.
Now here's the question.
Blah, blah, blah.
Here's the question. Is KG gonna make Big Baby cry?
I think you're missing the main question is,
I knew it was this question. Here it
where the
is.
fuck is Ray Allen in this shit?
It's too soon, man. Too soon.
Ray Allen!
too
Hey,
soon.
Ray.
Too soon,
Yo,
man.
Ray's a bitch.
User, bitch.
Damn it! Oh, I'm gonna go
Damn,
to
Ray.
the freaking enemy.
Ray, just think.
Oh.
You won that stupid championship with the Heat, but you could be on Area 21 right now instead.
Nah, he don't want that.
And if it weren't for
he ain't
Ray,
about that life.
and
Ain't about that life.
worst
Ain't
part
about that
about it is if it weren't for Ray, LeBron would have one less title.
If it weren't for Ray, the Celtics wouldn't have that title though either.
Yeah, but whatever.
Ray Allen's a bitch.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to the Causeway Street podcast. Turned 3 years old this week.
Happy birthday.
Hold on, you
Hey,
gotta,
one?
you gotta sing
Hey,
that. You gotta
hey.
sing that to
Hey,
yourself
who?
because Dutra
Hey.
is also
I didn't
turning.
know. I didn't know I was old as the Causeway Street
No,
podcast.
you're also turning. No, I'm kidding. He's 29. You'll be 29, right?
29, bitch. Don't put that dirty on my name, man.
Wait, when are you turning 29?
Sunday.
Sunday.
we
Sunday.
Just nothing.
And shout out to Zach Pellegrin,
I'm
who's
almost-
also
Yeah, Zachy boy.
He's also celebrating a birthday this weekend, and hopefully the Celtics pull off that Game 4 win for a birthday gift for y'all. This, in case you missed it, is brought to you by CLNS Media Network. Make sure you download the mobile app
CLNS.
on your
When you want the best.
on your iPhone or Android.
That's the first time doing this. Definitely heard that shit.
Never heard it.
What is that?
CLNS. When you want the best. Sketchy. What the fuck I tell you?
And that's it for.
In case you missed it.
Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. Sway's doing the damn thing down in D.C. You can catch all of the post-game and pre-game stuff for Game 4. And talking to you guys very soon. Sean Dutra, where can they find you on the interwebs?
At Sean Dutra.
On Twitter. Tim, once again, thanks for blessing us with your with your knowledge on basketball. And they can read your pieces up on the sportsblog.com.
Yep.
Our resident Suns fan, but loves basketball all the same.
Trying
And
to
you know what?
recruit him. Trying to recruit him on the
Get
Causeway
on the
Street
Causeway Street
blog.com.
podcast, bro. Like, come on, be a writer. You don't have to write about the Celtics. You can write about whatever you want.
Okay.
That took a lot of convincing.
Not
My
me.
name is Joel
That
Pavone.
wasn't me.
Sean Dutra.
Damn it, a dot.
And on behalf of Joe Sway Pavone, we are the Causeway Street podcast, and we're out. Peace.
Later.